Alright guys, I wanted to do a quick video. I've seen these homemade air conditionings made out of fans and coolers, 5-gallon buckets. There's a bunch of different of them on the internet, YouTube. That always kind of fascinated me. I wanted to see for myself if it works. So this is what I did. I went to Home Depot with a gift card I had and bought the cooler. It's just your regular old water cooler. I went with this because it's insulated, but when I cut the hole here I found out the top's not insulated, so what I did was I insulated the top with expandable foam. I'll show that to you in a minute. Anyway, cut 2 holes in. That's 2-inch pipe, PVC. Cut I say 2 holes, 3 holes in, and just stuck them through the side wall of the cooler, probably sticking out maybe about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch on the inside, and of course sticking out that far there on the outside. And then of course I mounted that. I cut a hole in it and mounted it, used the jigsaw. I'll show you the inside of the top where I insulated that. Alright, so here's the top. When I cut the hole, it obviously wasn't insulated, so I put expandable foam in there. And I'll dress this up a little bit, but I wanted to hurry up and do this this weekend and try to get the video up. Anyway, the thought process for people that don't know is you put ice or whatever inside of there and put the fan on top. Turn the fan on, and you got cold air coming out. Anyway, you get your ice inside there, put your top back on it, and turn it on, and then you got cold air popping out. The experiment that I want to run today is I want to actually see how much it will lower the temperature here in my van, and also the humidity. I went on and I've got this little privacy quilt up. I throw this up every now and then when I use the van. So I've got that up. I do have a piece of the Reflectix in the windshield to try to keep the heat out. Yeah, it doesn't fit perfect. It's a store-bought one, and it was actually for a Subaru I used to own, so it's not that big. Anyway, I got that in, and my temperature right now is 81 degrees. The relative humidity is 59. The thermometer here is also reading right around 80 degrees as well. I'm going to use this to try to determine the temperature coming out of the AC unit. And it is right at 11 o'clock in the morning. So I'm going to get some ice that I've got. I basically froze a 1-gallon jug of water, and then I also got another water bottle that I froze. I'm just going to put those in there, turn it on, and see what we got. Alright, so here's my 1-gallon jug full of frozen water. Set that in there, and then I also did this one. It's a 33.8 ounce thing of frozen water as well. Put these little streamers on here. Got to get an idea, show you an idea how strong the air is coming out. Alright, stand by. I'm going to turn it on and start the experiment. Alright, so I got the door shut. Little partition, curtain up. Everything's loaded up. I'm going to put it on. Actually, let me plug it in first. Sorry about that. Alright, so we got it plugged in. We'll turn it on 1. You can see it's coming out pretty good. Turn on 2. Definitely cool air. Alright, so we're 82 degrees and 56 degrees, or 56% humidity. Yeah, this is reading right at 80. I'm going to stick this in the middle one. Turn it on 3. I don't know if you can see that. Temperature's already kind of dropping on that a little bit. It's probably 79 or so degrees. Alright, we'll check back in 15 minutes and see if we've got a temperature drop in the ambient. It's 11:08. Alright, so it's been 15 minutes. I'm still coming out. We're still registering right about 80 to 79 degrees. And the temperature inside is going up. It's 83.3. And the relative humidity dropped 1%. And I think the temperature's going up because this thing is not working the way I thought it was going to work. And maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe not have enough ice in there. Not sure. I'm going to let it run for another 15 minutes and see what happens. I'm beginning to think that maybe what's happening is that the air from inside the van is hot and it is being pulled down into the ice, semi-cooled, and then coming out up to the outlets, and it may just take some time to get the ambient temperature to drop inside the van enough to where it'll start working. I don't know. I was worried a little bit about the amount of ice I had in there, but I was going to definitely just give this a try. It's doesn't take too much room up in the freezer. It's a 1 gallon jug and then a 33.8 ounce water bottle. I can certainly get more ice in there. We'll see. Alright, stand by. Alright, so it's 11:24 now, and it just is not cooling. It's basically 80 degrees coming out, and kind of thinking about this little experiment here, and I think maybe what's happening is the air is coming out of the 3 portals, or at least the top portal, before it's actually getting to go around the ice. So what I did was I went inside and I got some bowls, and I'm going to elevate the ice and see if I can't get that temperature to drop. Also going to see if the temperature is a little bit different here. And I got the ice is right there, so that actually does feel a little bit cooler, but not that much. Anyway, I'm going to reconfigure and see if we can't get the temperature to drop. Alright, so kind of raised the frozen water bottles up a little bit, and we'll see how that does. kind of blocking that center one right now, so I don't know, we'll see how it goes. Stand by. Alright, just started it back up, and the temperatures are right around 81, 82 degrees. We'll stick this in here. And our temperature in the van is 84.9 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're back up to 56 degrees relative humidity. Time is 11:28. Alright, so it's been, I don't know, probably 20 minutes. Temperature really hadn't changed. I also dropped the airspeed down. I think the air was leaving the cooler too quick, wasn't getting cold enough before it exited, and at least that's the thought process on it. So I slowed the fan down, put it on 1. It's still coming out pretty good. Forgot to mention too, that's a 9-inch fan up there, so the diameter of the air is 9 inches, and that may be part of the problem as well. Beginning to think that you know, this whole setup is just has built-in inefficiencies from the beginning. Anyway, temperature is now almost 87 degrees, 86.9. Relative humidity is at 56%. Yeah, I think the major problem here is we're taking the hot air out of the van, putting it down into the cooler, and it's not staying in the cooler long enough to cool down to the ice temperature, or even close to the ice temperature, before it gets pushed out of the cooler. I don't know that there's a way that you can get this to work the way that you hope it would. Like I said, I did raise up the ice, and I think the ice is definitely I don't know, about 2-3 inches from the top of the cooler. So the air definitely is getting around the 1 gallon jug, and then the other one, the little 33 ounce, and then before it comes out of here. So it is getting there, getting around it, which leads to another problem. I noticed when I raised it up that the ice obviously is still inside the container, but there's a thin layer of water around the ice, and so that's what the air is actually running past, is the cool water and not the ice. And there's obviously going to be a big, and I say a big, temperature difference. There is a temperature difference. I don't know how big it is, but it's not ice. So the air's now not going actually around ice, it's going around water that is around ice. So that's pretty much it. I don't think this experiment is going to be a success in actually lowering the temperature. It is a success in I finally get my answer to this little hack that does it work, does it lower the temperature, and I was hoping it would, but it doesn't. It doesn't appear. It's 11:42, and we're now at 87.2 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're probably about 81 degrees air coming out. So to wrap this up, I think the whole system is just extremely inefficient. Air doesn't stay in the chamber long enough to be cooled before it gets pushed back out, and I think the temperature inside the van, that air is too hot to begin with. I think that's coming in, and that's making, I guess, it's highlighting the inefficiencies of the design here. I don't know if making a smaller fan would work. And yeah, a smaller fan wouldn't work in my opinion, because you're going to be slowing the volume of air down going in, and it's obviously going to be a whole lot smaller coming out. I don't think it's going to work with a smaller fan. So this is about a $60 experiment that doesn't work. Give it a few more minutes. Alright, so you just saw I took the do-it-yourself AC cooler into the house, and pretty much the same results in there. I'm pretty much getting the same temperature air that I have in the house coming out of the cooler.